Good evening, I'm Karl Deigert. Welcome to Profile. Tonight my guest is in keeping with most of my unusual people that I present to you. Very talented. In fact, he is so unusual that to work for him you have to pull strings. If you could forgive another pun, I might even say you'd have to be a bit picky, because you see, he makes guitars. And he's one of the finest guitar makers in the country, as you'll soon see. Please say hello to Phillip J. Petillo from West Deal. And Phil, for a busy man like you, I'm so delighted that you take time out to come see me. We got to get right to the important thing, and that is for the viewers out there. I'm sure we have some, at least young people, younger than my 30 years, Phil, who would want to know this important question. How does it feel to know that you create the sound that Springsteen makes?
Well, I'd like to start off by saying I'm delighted to be here with you today. And the feeling is very nice. It's nice to have big-name acts that come to you and respect your work. I've known Bruce for about 17 years, and I've been doing work for him for at least that long. And it's very rewarding to have clients like Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band and others. It's just a wonderful feeling to see all your products being used and getting nice letters from them, having it mentioned in magazines, on television, that sort of thing.
Isn't it true that you made Bruce's first guitar?
The guitar he uses primarily on most of his shows is a Fender Esquire body that was made in 1954. And the neck and fingerboard, bridge, pickups, all the electronics that are built into it, I designed and built. And that took a process of time to acquire the particular sound, which has been referred to as the Asbury Park sound, which we worked on for quite a few years to get that particular tone qualities.
Because we have so much to do and show and talk about, I want to get this in right away. So while the camera folks are coming in here, I'd like people to see the boss himself with none other than Phillip Petillo.
That was taken at the Meadowlands last show of the Meadowlands this year. 84.
That's an interesting shirt he's wearing there.
Yeah, he comes up with some strange things. I don't know where he gets them. Him and Niels always have some kind of outrageous shirts, T-shirts.
When you say Neil, you mean?
Niels Lofgren, his guitar player. He replaced Steve Van Zandt.
Yes, Steve is my neighbor, would you believe? In fact, I had his brother Billy on my show. Billy makes movies. He's an interesting fellow. I'm going to put another one on. I assume that they have gotten that. Tell us who another client
It's another good friend of ours, James Taylor. We've been friends with James, and he's used my products for at least 10, 15 years.
And before I get off the subject of Bruce, because we want to get right into your work, I would be remiss in my work if I did not ask at least a person like you who knows Bruce to tell us just a little bit, what kind of person do you feel he is?
Bruce is probably one of the most interesting people I know. If you meet him on the street, he's just an average guy, soft-spoken person. He's very polite. He's a generous person. He's a type of guy who you just want to go, so let's go have a cup of coffee and talk about something. But when you give him a guitar, put him in front of some people, give him a microphone, we call him, he turns into Superman.
Is that right?
And that's the best way to explain him. He's a performer, he's an entertainer, and he's a great musician and a great songwriter. So he has the whole ball of wax. You know, he's a very interesting person.
And you describe him as though he is indeed a wonderful person on top of all that talent.
Yes, yes he is.
Let's, Phil, because again your work is so detailed and involved and fascinating, let's get right to it. How do you start out? Might this be the right question? How do you start out?
Well, normally what we do is we have a list of questions. When someone contacts us about having a guitar made, and I refer to us as my wife and myself, we run our business, it's a family business.
Lucille.
My wife, Lucille.
Yeah, we got to put that in.
Yeah, otherwise she'll shoot us.
Yes.
So it's a family-run business. It's Lucille manages it, and I make the instruments. But basically what happens, people call or write us letters, and they inquire about particular instruments, and they make an appointment. In many cases, if they're close enough, they come in. and we talk about what type of instrument that they want, whether it be an acoustic guitar, electric guitar, or whatever. Or if they're far away, we write to them, mail them letters with questionnaires, helping them to understand what we're doing, what's available, and how we can suit their needs. And to give you an example, many people like certain size necks. Now, the neck of a guitar, there's a neck here, and we
And just hold that still so the camera can see that. Yeah, that's the neck of the guitar.
This is a neck.
Yeah.
This gets attached to the body. This is for an acoustic instrument. Now, the difference
Acoustic
is...
meaning that no electric is attached
Right,
to it?
it's
Is
a
that it?
non-amplified, normally is referred to as a non-amplified instrument. So the neck of the guitar is the heart of the whole instrument, because you see these little bars in here, they're called frets, and when you place your fingers on top of the strings, the strings push your fingers push the strings down to the frets and form notes. Now, if this is inaccurate, the instrument will play out of tune, so the rest of it, no matter how well it's done, will be useless, because what good is an instrument that plays out of tune? So the heart of the instrument is the fingerboard, neck and fingerboard. So the first thing we find out is first what kind of guitar you'd like, whether it be electric, acoustic, various other forms of instruments. And then we determine, first of all, what scale. Now, the scale is how far apart the frets are, and then we determine how thick or wide this way the neck is, and how thick it may be this way. And then we fit all this to people's hands. Everything is made to fit the particular size hand of the person. The sound of the instrument is calculated by the scale of the instrument. In other words, we're talking about the fret spacings as a scale, and what type of wood we make it out of.
Is that wood now hand carved that you have there? Is that made from a mold or?
No. Basically, it's sawn out of large blocks of wood.
That's the beginning of one right there?
Here's the beginning of one. I brought this along today. And you can see here where, if you look closely, maybe you can see the bandsaw marks in here. This is cut out on a saw. And this is a laminate. This is a three-piece neck. There are maple on the outside. In the middle, this is a African cherry. It's known as bubinga. And this is maple over here. So laminates are much stronger than one piece. So we use laminates quite a bit. And this is sawn out. And after it's sawn out, this part of the instrument, you can see that, is where it attaches to the body. This is done, cut out. The fingerboard is glued on. That's the part here where we were talking about before where the frets go. Then if you look closely, I don't know if you could see it or not, but there's little lines drawn on here, and that's where the inlays would go, as the inlays, these mother-of-pearl inlays in this one. Actually, these are not mother-of-pearl inlays. These are snail shell, so it's a little bit different, but it's similar.
What is mother-of-pearl? We have some of the stuff. Is this a good time to show some of this right now?
Yeah.
All right, suppose I do that. I'll point, if I can get the camera to come in, to some what I think is mother-of-pearl. Is it